Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, Adam here, and you're about to listen to a hypnosis session that was created for someone very successful in their career, in their industry, and they wanted to activate another level. And they'd recently been traveling and used a rental car that had a manual gear system. They were used to driving automatic. And what they liked is this idea that they had more capacity than they were tapping into. So this idea of using a mechanical metaphor of harnessing sixth gear was very useful for them because they'd had that recent experience of using a stick shift car. But also there's certain elements of different gears being useful for different terrains. Like you wouldn't be in fifth or sixth gear, for example, if you're going up a high gradient, like a hill. You'd be in a lower gear because you need more traction. So in this hypnosis session, it uses the elements of gears to represent different areas of their life and also to highlight that sometimes it's good to have that downtime. So this is kind of like a work-life balance hypnosis session, but also a productivity and focus session as well, tapping into more resources and using this idea of the higher self to represent the all-knowing part or the sum of all the parts of the subconscious mind. Some people call that intuition or this kind of gut feel. Now, the higher self you can look at as accessing all of the information and then intuitively knowing how to harness the right resources in the right context. And I've seen people that when they need to be focused, actually can't quite tap into that focus. And other times people might be relaxing on a beach, except they're not relaxing on a beach. Their brain is going at a million miles an hour thinking of all the problems they have to deal in their workplace. And neither is optimal. It's good to be in the right state for the right context that you're in. So there's elements of that, and there's elements of harnessing more of that intuitive power that exists. So if you've always thought like you've got more left in the tank or more capacity, I think you'll benefit from this session. It's always good to link it to an intention. So this is me priming you before you even listen to the session. But what would sixth gear or 10 or 20% more productivity or focus actually mean to you? What would you do that if you had that? And then there's a good way for you to test improvements, because if you have more capacity but you don't do anything with it or don't know that you have that capacity, but then what's the point in having that? And a good analogy to explore that thought further is the idea that a modern day smartphone has more processing power than the original computers that took the Apollo missions up to the moon. But here's what's interesting. With that less computing power, they were able to achieve something incredible. And the average person with their smartphone is watching cat videos and things like that. So not really utilizing the full power of that processing power. So set an intention, something that you would do if you had more cognitive power or more focus or more work ethic, will enable you to get more from this session. And if you do like these sessions, but you don't like me rambling on at the beginning, then in the description, there is a link to 22 free hypnosis downloads that doesn't have the intro or the outro or my explanation. It just has the hypnosis session. So if you want more of just the hypnosis, click the link in the description and get 22 of those hypnosis sessions completely free. And they have a retail value of about £220 or $270. That's what I sell them for on my Shopify store, and they're completely free. Just go to that link in the description. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, that's it, release all the tension around your eyelids and just feel a sense of release as you exhale. That's it. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. Each breath taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. Feel the shift taking you there. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. And as your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I wonder if you can use the power of your imagination to imagine flying in the sky like a bird over rugged terrain. Imagine flying over glaciers, rocky mountains. Perhaps you could imagine hot springs beneath you, but imagine gliding to an impressive waterfall, a spectacular waterfall. The kind of waterfall that looks that it was built for the gods. Epic. Spectacular. That's it. And imagine just gliding down to the ground, perhaps rocks or grass. Perhaps you can imagine blue skies, a breeze. And I wonder if you can imagine seeing not just any waterfall, but the Icelandic Gullfoss waterfall. The height, that endless, powerful cascade. And maybe you could imagine feeling the mist on your skin, cool and refreshing. Or maybe it's the sound. Imagine hearing the roaring thunder of all of that falling water. And if you pay close attention, maybe you can notice a rhythm, like a heartbeat, or an engine idling in perfect tune. Allow your breathing in and breathing out to match that rhythm. Perhaps your heart matches that rhythm. With every inhale, imagine breathing in air that feels crisp and refreshing. And with every exhale, feel like a block is being unblocked Tension, stress, and worries are being released. Allow yourself to feel that tension, that pressure, that noise being released from you, like the water releasing, coming tumbling down from the waterfall. Feel it leaving your body. And you don't need to force it in the same way that the waterfall doesn't need to force the water to fall. It just facilitates it. The water falls not because it's being forced. It's just being channeled that way. So just as the waterfall allows the water to fall, your awareness begins to flow downward, down through the layers of relaxation, and down past the surface thoughts, past the noise of the everyday world, and even past the demands. Feel your attention falling downwards into a deep, calm space within. So far down, it feels like you've gone through a portal to a different dimension. And in that dimension, I want you to imagine a car. Not just any car. I want you to imagine the most powerful or desirable manual car that you can imagine. And maybe it's a classic sports car, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini. Maybe it's a racing car. Allow your imagination to choose the car. But it is two things, powerful and manual. You can see that stick shift right there in the gearbox. And imagine climbing into that car, perhaps with luxurious leather seats, an incredible dashboard showing you the raw power of this car. And I want you to imagine feeling the clutch. When you push down on the clutch, feel the resistance of each gear as you shift, until it becomes intuitive. You just know where each gear is. And imagine driving that car, slowly at first. You could imagine hills and straight roads, even a racing track if you like. Allow your mind to become the terrain for this car. And each gear represents a different state. Of course, when it's in neutral, when you're not moving, the car has all of the energy, all of that power, but none of it is being deployed. Consider neutral your rest state. Even elite athletes need rest in order to grow and improve and become better. Consider yourself an elite athlete of your domain. Rest is not waste, it's essential. So you can enjoy being in neutral, turning the engine off with nothing to do, simply allowing yourself to be. And when you move it into gear 1, this is you building up momentum, useful for things that don't require too much power but do require shifting from inertia to momentum. Consider gear 1, starting something. Those things you've been procrastinating on. Maybe you have an unconscious expectation that you have to jump straight to gear 5 or gear 6. But this high performance car needs to start in the lower gears before it is safe to access and harness the higher gears. Consider gear 1, getting started. Or perhaps those things that don't need much resources or energy at all. And maybe gear 2, maybe that's being active, present. Consider this just coasting and gliding. Not much to do. These are things that don't require too much of your cognitive powers. This is your easygoing state. You're doing things, but consider this cruise control. Easygoing, not challenging at all. And sometimes it's good to be in this unchallenging state. Researching, catching up, reading the news, conversations where you're giving your attention, but nothing is dependent on that attention. And then consider your gear 3 and gear 4, the getting things done gears. And maybe if it's something that can be done in just a few minutes or less, you just get it done. Or maybe getting it done is going through those things that can be done in the context that you're in. Emails to be sent, things to read, review, or maybe in a particular room. Consider this crossing off things on that to-do list of yours. You need to think, you need action, you need to do things. But consider this well within your comfort zone. This feels like it's doable, so you do it. You don't need to be worked up. You don't need to challenge your brain. Gear 3 and gear 4 is just doing what needs to be done. And as you drive around in that impressive car, I want you to see open roads. This is where you really get to put your foot down. Feel the exhilaration of that acceleration. And notice that if you push too hard on the accelerator still in gear 4 on those open roads, you can hear the sound of the engine, letting you know that you're in the wrong gear. That sensory acuity to know when you're not quite right is important. Because in a car you would hear that and intuitively you would change it. So allow those neural pathways to apply the same principle. when a non-challenging situation or environment becomes challenging, you can either intend to shift gear or allow your mind to do it for you. Maybe that's gear 5 or gear 6 if you're really pushing yourself to your limits, needing that focus, that precision, that full capability. And you know the kind of situations that you need to be in gear 5 or gear 6. And just allow yourself to feel that you know how to get into those states, becoming activated, electric, resourceful, perhaps even in a flow state. And you've always had all 6 gears, but sometimes it's hard to shift. Sometimes we get used to staying in one gear too long. And I want you to imagine there's something that you didn't see before. Although this car is manual, it has a button, and you can shift it into automatic whenever you choose. Or maybe that gearbox turns to paddle shifts, and you can change gears from the steering wheel. Whatever your imagination shows you, feel it's mapping across to your ability to naturally change states. And it doesn't matter what these states are. It's just how you deploy these states. Because you have a gear from 1 to 6 for creativity, for focus, for productivity, for quick thinking. And sometimes, isn't it good to be in gear 6 for one thing and gear 1 for something else? What if you were on gear 1 for anxiety and gear 6 for focus? Allow yourself to start thinking of many different cars. Each car represents a different resource, a different skill, a different ability. And you can imagine there's different parts to your personality. You have an adventurous side that wants to push things to the limits, and another that plays things more cautiously. And I want you to feel that all of these parts are working together, working in harmony. And sometimes you're the driver, and you get to deploy different resources, different cars, and different gears. Imagine placing your hand on the gear stick, feet on the clutch and accelerator, and then choosing with intention the gear that matches the terrain, the demands, the outcome you want to create. I want you to feel that a decision or intention can change the gear. A posture change can change the gear. Even different clothes can change the gear. After a stressful, intense day, something like kicking off your shoes could be the thing that changes the gear. Changing your clothes from work clothes to casual clothes could change the gear. I want you to get a sense that there are infinite tools for you to intentionally change the gear. And if your unconscious mind agrees, let me know by nodding your head. And then I want you to think that there is a supercomputer on board. We can consider this your higher self. And your higher self doesn't need intention. If you imagine an advanced computer on a high-performance car, the gear changes automatically depending on the variables. If it's advantageous to change gear, it does. And if it isn't, it doesn't. And I want you to feel that you are activating and empowering your higher self. The part of you that can automatically sense what's needed, that can shift gear up or down without effort. There's nothing you need to do. Your higher self is doing it for you. So if you find yourself shifting posture and you didn't intend to do that, but that shift in posture puts you in a different state, allow yourself to be grateful for that higher self making the changes for you. If you feel a surge of adrenaline, a change to your breathing, what if that's your higher self changing the gear for you because it's useful, perhaps even necessary, for the situation that your unconscious has evaluated that you're in? I want you to feel that there is now intelligent automation built into your unconscious mind. You retain the manual control whenever you want it, but consider your higher self switching to autopilot, making the shifts and maneuvers necessary depending on your circumstances. And you can trust that because your higher self has access to all of your wisdom, all of your experiences. You can change the gear instantly, depending on what's most useful for you. And perhaps you could imagine a time in the future where you intend to change gear. Perhaps imagine grasping the steering wheel, feeling that power that you decide just how far you push it. And then allow yourself to relax. Only one hand on the wheel. No need for the clutch or the gear stick. You are now on auto. So imagine that automatic mode now taking over. Your higher self adjusting the settings. Fluid, responsive, effortless. And this means that you can be in gear 6 without having to do anything. Your higher self gives you the resources, and your unconscious can put those resources to use. And sometimes you can shift from auto to manual because you want to be in control. And sometimes autopilot is the best place to be. And you can be on autopilot in gear 6 or in gear 1. Isn't it good to just relax and unwind without intending to do it that way? It just feels right. So allow that shift happening to you now. Maybe you can imagine that challenge that comes your way. And you could intend to be in gear 5, or allow your higher self to do it. Maybe you observe or feel how it would feel to be just as resourceful as you need to be. And then perhaps you could imagine being on a vacation or a meal, or just relaxing on a Sunday afternoon. And you can intend to be in neutral or gear 1, or allow your autopilot to do it for you. But feel how effortless it feels to dial things down whenever you need to. Rest is best. And feel that sometimes that's absolutely true. Allow yourself to leave this place in your imagination, leave the car, but take all the concepts and ideas with you and imagine yourself again standing in front of that majestic waterfall, seeing it continue to cascade, seeing it continuing to flow. And even though the waterfall is flowing, every second is different to the last. Infinite variables, and yet it still flows in the same way. And that is your life. Infinite variables, but you decide what direction it flows in. And as you hold that thought, feel that both intentional state change and automatic state change have been upgraded like a new operating system, giving you the ability to do either, both, or whichever feels most natural. And take that upgraded way of changing your state all the way back to the present. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, start to connect and calibrate into the here and the now. That's it, as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.